listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hello, what's good, family? Peace, 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 peace. Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive reinforcement of original people and original people culture. The Narrative Podcast provides positive frames of reference about original people and original people culture. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome all my narrators. Well, we're back at it. Another weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. Doing a timely broadcast this evening for a change. So welcome to the Narrative Podcast. So what I basically do here is provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. But I just want to get interpersonal with you. You know, today's Wednesday, hump day. We over the hump. We made it. So like weekend's right around the corner. This year's almost out of here already. Only got 100 more days till it's time to cast, your vote for people that like to vote. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that later on in the broadcast. But how's everybody doing? People that got children, it's back to school shopping. All the deals. Are you getting any deals? Pray everybody's doing well. But without any further ado, I'm going to dive right on into the content. So for people unfamiliar with me and my platform, how I usually start things off is I give a brief overview of the content before diving into the content to better familiarize the listening audience with my platform. So all my narrators, they're my target listening audience. They're the people that tune in every single week. So they already know, the deal. But for those that are unfamiliar with me and my podcast, I'm going to give you a brief overview before diving into the content this evening. Before that, I just want to make them also aware I broadcast. I have two different formats. One format is a weekday format, and another format I have is a weekend format. So obviously today is Wednesday. I'm going to give you my weekday format, and I'm over 300 episodes in. So listen to the Narrative Podcast wherever you get your podcast sources from. And download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast. So, having said all of that, I'm going to dive right on into the synopsis of the Narrative Podcast. So let's start off at the top. Tippy, the name. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast as I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. So to counter that, I designed my own platform where I'm actually celebrating everything we do right. I'm highlighting our accomplishments and upplaying all our contributions to the world. So, that's kind of the focus of the Narrative Podcast. What I do here, because the media intentionally provides negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. They try to portray us in the most negative light they possibly can. So, what I want to do is dedicate and design a platform, to, counter their negative influence and how they negatively depict our people's images and likenesses. So, I think that's a perfect segue, actually, to my tagline, The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Hence the title, The Narrative Podcast. So I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time with my content. And my content is positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So my mission statement is to, bring awareness to the listening audience of how important it is to properly utilize your digital platforms to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And then also to encourage you to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So that's what I do here on the Narrative Podcast. Now I'm going to go over some little brief misnomers, just all the nuances you need to be familiar with before attempting to, attentively listen to, what I'm presenting to you this evening. So first up, I refer to my target listening audience as my narrators. I call my target listening audience my narrators because it's actually just basically acknowledging the times we're living in. We're living in the digital information age, and people, we socialize online, we gather information, and we share information online digitally. That's, the era that we're living in. We're living in the digital information age. We all occupy a digital space, the majority of us, whether it's for recreational purposes or whether it's for business purposes. Everybody that has, a device, a cellular device, or, computer or something, pretty much has a digital platform, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, now it's called X, but formerly Twitter, whether it's, TikTok, whatever. Everybody, has a digital platform. And on the digital platform, there's generally a section, a bio section, for whatever person or business occupies that digital space. And in this bio section, you can read it and learn a little bit about, the person or business or entity that occupies that digital space. And when you read their bio, typically, everybody that has a digital platform tries to upload the best possible content they can possibly upload. Everybody's, telling their own story. They're telling the best possible version of themselves or their product or whatever it is that they're trying to do online. They're telling or narrating their own stories. So that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators. I feel as narrators, when it comes to our people, original people, I'll get to the original people part a little later on in the segment. I feel it's important for us to tell or narrate the best possible versions of ourselves as possible, because the media exists solely to vilify our people and paint us out to be deviant in nature and have irredeemable qualities, and just basically spew propaganda about our people and our culture. So it's up to all of us to tell or narrate our own stories. If history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your own story will be told for you. And that's precisely what the media's always been doing since it's been around, is that they've been telling our story for us, and they tell it from a warped, skewed, inaccurate place. So it's up to us to pull it back into perspective by telling or narrating our own stories. So next point that I'm coming to, the Narrator podcast. This is a positive space. I exist solely to uplift and edify our people. I'm bringing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So this is a gossip-free zone. It's devoid of gossip, negative talk, name calling, put downs, all that. I don't engage in it. I don't endorse it. I don't stamp it. I try to discourage against it. I feel negative talk and gossip is destroying our community. There's literally like $1 billion a year, or possibly more, generated by faceless Fortune 500 companies to cash in on us being messy online and us being at odds at one another online. So the purpose of why I exist is basically just to uplift, edify our people, try to promote positive reinforcement, compliments, just basically saying what we're doing right in the world instead of pointing out what we're doing wrong, because it's very easy to, point the problem out. It's a little bit more difficult to, have a solution for the problem. And that's all the media does when it comes to our people and our culture, is they point out the problem. They point out all the things that we're doing wrong. They don't see all the positive things that we're doing and how we impact and influence the rest of the world. So this is a positive space. No negativity, no gossip, no slander. And in the sidebar, I want to tack on to that. I do, delve into commentary. I commentate on whatever is going on in the world, whether it's globally, nationally, or just something within our community. And the purpose of me doing that, again, is to, enlighten and tell our story in the correct way. So the way our story needs to be told, it needs to be told from the correct perspective. And what's the correct perspective? From the perspective of our true nature. What's our true nature? Kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. It never needs to be from the perspective of, being disenfranchised, downtrodden. The media exists to play up the negative stereotypes and stigmas within our community. They play up, gun violence culture. They play up gangbang culture. They play up, they romanticize criminality within our community, breaking and entering, stealing from one another, being violent towards one another, unaliving one another. They glorify, deviant, degenerate behavior. They want to try to over-sexualize our women. They want to try to, make them appear to be whores and thoughts and, They want to push that narrative that, coming out the house barely clothed, and every time they hear music, they got to drop it low to the floor and make it talk. That's what they want to push on our women. For our men, they want to, use the images of the gangster, the thug, the gangbanger, the pimp, the drug dealer, the drug user, the alcoholic, the absentee father. These are the images they want to promote and push when it comes to our people and our culture. So that's why I want to, have my platform be the safe space and have the real conversations that need to be had, and focus the light on things that need to have the light focused on. Another thing is, sometimes, being that I do deliver commentary, if it's a trending topic, usually somebody in the entertainment industry from our community, the only time I will generally, bring their name up is basically to shed the light on, give an accurate account of why whatever negative things happening to him is happening. And how I try to frame it up on my platform is I try to frame it up looking at the bigger picture scenario. And the bigger picture scenario always points, like anything, that happens in our community that's negative, it all points back to, can usually be traced back to systemic programming and conditioning. What the media is doing, like how they're negatively using our images and our likenesses to paint out negative pictures. It's a form of psychological warfare. It's systemic programming and conditioning. You see, we see these negative things, we hear these negative things all the time, and it takes root in our psyches, and we, on a subconscious level, act out on it. Like, we don't even know we're doing it because we've been programmed to do it. We've been programmed to, talk about each other in a negative way. We've been programmed to, commit crimes against each other. We've been programmed to not trust one another and not want to unite and build with one another. We've been programmed to see each other as adversaries. So, it's not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. If you look at, our community in the whole, here in America and abroad, our people, the way we're living, how we communicate with each other, how we just automatically distrust one another without really knowing each other's full story and where they've been in life and, why they do what they do. We're just naturally on the defense. That's not by design. We've been programmed and conditioned to behave that way. So that's the only reason why I would ever bring, a famous person's name up if they're like a trending topic. It's never to put them down or, try to clout chase or build momentum, try to build some type of momentum on my platform using their name just because, they're the hot topic. It's just basically bringing awareness to, why whatever's happening to them is happening to them. From that perspective, from the, systemic programming and conditioning perspective. Never to speak negatively or down on them or call them names or whatever, or scold them. Now, but what I do on my platform, it is also a platform of truth. I do tell the truth. If one of our brothers or sisters in our community is intentionally, irresponsibly using their platform or using their polarizing public image to play up negative stereotypes and stigmas about our people and our culture for monetary gain, I will put said individual on blast, because they need to be put on blast for that. You know, we got too many problems for people within our community to be part of the problem. So, you know, I will call them out for that, but, you know, I try not to like do the name calling and all that, and the gossip and the slander. I try to steer clear away from all that, because that's very self-destructive and, you know, disruptive to, you know, our growth and progression as a people. Next, this is a time-sensitive platform. I try not to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. And the purpose of me doing that is, number one, I don't want to bore my listening audience to sleep. This is a all audio platform, so I want to keep you attentive, keep you enthralled into the content that I'm presenting to you. Keep you entertained. You know, I don't want to be redundant with my content. I don't want to bore you to sleep. I want to keep you attentive, entertained, and you know, more apt to tune in and listen again. And I can't do that if I'm, you know, boring you to sleep, talking in circles, and not really having a clear point, just rambling, which what like a lot of audio podcasts are, is just like somebody just rambling, trying to get something off your chest. No real clear point. You know, if that's the type of content you like, to each their own, no judgment. But on here, I would like to think I'm intentional and, you know, purposeful. If purposeful is a word, intentional, and having a purpose for the content that I'm presenting to the listening audience. And you know, I want to engage, you know, everybody at every level. I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to shoot over anyone's head. I also don't want to dumb myself down, so I want to just engage everybody and make everybody feel included in the content, because, you know, on the Narrator podcast, my target listening audience is original people, and, you know, we all have a stake in this. It's going to take all of us working together, you know, on this, you know, liberation tip. So yeah. And then last but not least, I refer to our people, Black people, Negro, African American, whatever you want to refer to us as. I refer to our people as original people on my platform. And the reason being, that's really just to point out the historical accuracy of that word. We were and are the original beings of this planet or physical plane, for those that don't believe in, you know, round earth. We was here first. We was here thousands of years before everybody. So, you know, I refer to our people as original people to point out the historical accuracy, you know, about our people. You know, because we're not black. Black is a color. We're, you know, black's not a nationality. There are many of us that are extremely dark skinned, so dark, they almost have like a purplish or bluish hue to them, but they're not black. We come in all flesh tones. Darkest of the dark, lightest of the light, and everything in between. But, you know, we're all original. We all came first. We was all here first. And then one sub point that I want to tack on to that, being original people and that we was all here first, I will always, you know, have to point out, you know, a false narrative that keeps on getting perpetuated by the powers that shouldn't be about slavery. They want to make slavery the most poignant, relevant, significant part of our existence. And like I just said, if we was here first, doesn't it stand to reason we had a whole identity before the transatlantic slave trade? We inhabited every single corner of the globe you can name. The 7 continents, we was already on all 7 continents way before the transatlantic slave trade, especially here in the Americas. You know, while slavery did happen, not all of us came on slave boats to, you know, the Americas. We, like a large quantity of us was already here, as well as a large quantity of us was in other Americas. All the Spanish-speaking nations you can think of, there was already a large quantity of us there located already before slave boats. And then keyword boats, you know, it's scientifically impossible to carry all those air quote slaves from the continent of Africa, because they generally didn't even hold over 100 people in the early, you know, days. We get shown these pictures and images, these hand-painted pictures and images at that, of, you know, these ships that had, you know, the galley down below, shackled, and they're like by the rowboat, and they're rowing, and you know, they had somebody overseeing them, whipping them to make them row, and it's false. Because nobody was sailing in ships, they were sailing in boats. And the typical boat only held 20 to 30 people for crew. For the crew that went over there. And then, you know, they would probably only have enough room for like 20 or 30 more. So how was, like in history, is it recorded there was getting thousands upon thousands of slaves from the continent of Africa? It don't even like legitimately make sense when you know, sit down and have a real critical, you know, thought process behind it. You know, people just say stuff and we accept it as truth. And there's too much information at the tips of our fingers to keep going for that, to keep on letting them perpetuate this myth that we all got to wherever at in the world on slave boats. You know, it's physically impossible. We already existed. What the colonizers did is they took the people that already lived wherever at in the world, and they did what colonizers do. They colonized. They enslaved the people, the original indigenous people of those lands, created systems to make them conform to their way of life. And that's, you know, really kind of how slavery started. They didn't just... Do y'all really believe that we just stayed in one place? The original people that was here before every single body else. Our presence on this planet, you know, supersedes every other ethnic group, every other race, every other religion, you know, every other culture you can conceive of. We was here before everybody. We was everywhere. We was on, you know, in the Americas. We was in the UK. We was in Europe. We was in, you know, every Spanish-speaking nation you can think of. Cuba, Brazil, Spain, Venezuela. We was everywhere. Understand? We was like on the continent of Asia, Malasia, Tibet, Mongolia, China, Japan, Korea. Who was there? Japan. Was in Australia. The islands. Hawaii. The Philippines. You know, any place that we ever existed, all you ever got to do is look at the artwork and look at the statues and who do they resemble. That's how you know we was there. Ireland, Scotland, there. Russia, Germany, there. Even the North Pole and South Pole, we was already there. Got a little long-winded on that, but I can't let that slide, you know. They try to point out, you know, slavery was our most important, our most, like, they want to just try to attach our images and our likenesses to slavery, trying to make that the most impactful part of our existence, and it wasn't. It was tragic, it was barbarous, it was barbaric. They did some horrible, wicked, despicable, disgusting things to us during slave times, but it wasn't the most impactful, it wasn't the most definitive part of our existence. It wasn't. We had a whole identity before the transatlantic slave trade. And that's all I was really trying to get across from, you know, why I refer to our people as original, from the historical part. And then lastly, I refer to our people as original as an attempt to unite us as a people. Because there are so many different types of us, hailing from so many different land masses, believing in so many different, you know, spiritual, religious purpose, like practices and political views, cultural upbringings, you know, everything and anything that divides us as a people. We have that within our, you know, about our people. But the one common thing that we all have in common is, you know, we're all original people. You know, we can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. You know, we can debate about where that point of origin really was, because, you know, that's a two-sided debate. Like, where was it originally before, you know, the colonizers drew the map? You know, what was it called before the colonizers named it that? You know, that's a whole nother debate for another time, but, you know, we can all trace our you know, lineage back to the original point of origin for all civilization. And then, you know, we all also possess high concentrations of carbon, aka melanin. You know, that's the common tie that binds us together as a people. You know, we're all one, we're all united, no matter what language you speak, no matter your nationality. You know, you are an original man or an original woman. So, yeah. So now that you're pretty much briefed about the Narrative Podcast, I'm going to dive on into the content. If I glazed over anything or left anything out, I'm over 300 episodes in, so remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. So diving into the content this evening for this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast, this Wednesday, So like I said, the whole sole purpose of this podcast is to provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and to encourage the listening audience to do the same. So this is a weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast, and on the weekday editions of the Narrative Podcast, the positive frames of reference that I share about our people and our culture come in the form of positive news articles. And why positive news articles is just like I said, we're constantly being bombarded with negativity from the media. It's in the news, it's, in television, movies, it's even in literature, books, periodicals, magazines, ads, radio. We don't get a break from negativity. That's all they constantly show us is, us going to jail, us getting unalived at disproportionate rates, us committing crimes at disproportionate rates, us just being the lower of the low on the totem pole 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Negativity, 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 negativity. Cramming it down our throats every single day. And we can't unsee it. Yes, you can put yourself in a positive state of mind and choose how you feel about certain things, but for the most part, they don't give us a reprieve from negativity. They're just constantly trying to fearmonger us, constantly trying to traumatize us with the content. So, that's why I'm sharing positive news articles to, counter, the psychological attacks that the media inflicts on our people and our culture. I want to showcase and highlight us living good, us defying the odds, us triumphing in the face of adversity, us, beating the odds, basically being the opposite of the way the liberal media portrays our people and our culture. Because like I said, it's their influence that influences us and others around us. So not only do we have a negative self-image of ourselves, people outside of our culture have a negative perception of us automatically because they're only given negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. They watch a movie, a television show, or just the local news, and they think, they make a generalization. They think all of us are like that. They think all of us speak that way. They think all of us act that way. They think all of us carry and conduct ourselves in a degenerate type of manner. So, that's why I'm sharing the positive news articles, just to set the record straight. We do positive things on a daily basis. The positive news article outlets to cover the positive things are very few, far and few in between. There's a few out there that, deliver a brief snippet about somebody from our community doing something positive. I will say, the Good Morning America show, that's really that's a good medium to see us doing positive things. They usually have somebody from our community have some type of innovative product, or, have done some type of something above and beyond being humane, some type of humanitarian story, as well as 60 Minutes too, you know. But like it's not a lot. It's not a lot of media platforms that share positive stories about our people and our culture. So that's why I'm doing the positive news articles. After I'm done with the positive news articles, then I deliver commentary on whatever's happening on in the world. And I already told you why I do that. So without any further ado, I'm diving into the content this evening on this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast. So my first positive news article on this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast, the headline reads, 7-year-old black girl gives back to the hospital where she was born, inspiring the community. And the tale of this young lady, or this young lady's name is Julia Scott. Julia ran a summer snow cone business, and she donated the proceeds that she earned from her snow cone business and donated it to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta in Brookhaven. She raised $350 and donated it to the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. So we got things, off to a tremendous start. Selflessly giving to the community. She could have kept that little money. I think she probably just enjoyed making the snow cups, just doing something, snow cones, pardon me. Just doing something creative. And that's really good at that tender age, to learn how to do things, to have a sense of community. We need to have those early year fundamentals instilled in our children to, give back. We need to instill it in our youth, so when they do get of age to start earning their own money, they can have a sense of community, because that's kind of what's wrong with our community right now. It's everybody got this me and mine mentality. As long as me and mine straight, I ain't got to worry, I ain't gonna worry about another grown man, another grown woman. If they don't got, that's on them. They got the same 24 hours I got. I'm just worried. I'm hustling for me and mine. I'm worried about me and mine. And that's why we don't have a lot of things that we used to have in our communities. In our communities, we used to have businesses. We used to have our own, movie theaters and coffee shops and laundromats and basically anything we need to venture outside our neighborhoods. In present day, we had all the comforts of that in our own communities, but segregation came, and then that me and mine mentality came with it. As long as me and mine straight. But anyway, that young lady did a tremendous service for the community, and she needs to be commended for that. And stories like that need to be commended. So anytime you hear something like that, post that, on your timeline or on your platform if you're a content creator, and just keep on putting out that positivity. Because like I said, the media intentionally misrepresents our people. They are ran by some horrible, wicked people with a horrible, wicked agenda. But at the end of the day, it's a business. And the first rule of business is supply and demand. So if we don't regurgitate the negative content, these faceless corporations will quit manufacturing that negative content when they see there's not a need for it. Because the first rule of business is supply and demand. And right now, as a people, we're creating the demand for degeneracy. We're recycling the trauma online. We're doing their job for them. So we need to circulate positive stories as much as possible. So like what this young lady's doing. So join me into giving our young sister Julia Scott a warm narrative podcast round of applause for giving back to the community and back to the children's health care of Atlanta. All right. Next article on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast, the headline reads, Black couple launches backpack/luggage line with diverse characters, donates free backpacks to students. And this married couple's duo's name is Sister Kelly and brother Donovan Charles. And they're the founders of Duchess and Dukes. This is a backpack line. They founded it in 2023, and it's a unique line. It basically features young original people, young original men, young original women, just the positive images of our children. And so we need that. And we don't have a lot of that. And so that's important. They understood the importance of positive images, seeing people that look like you, happy and smiling and being productive and being, being positive and carrying themselves with pride and dignity. So that's what we want our youth to do, to carry themselves with pride and dignity. And it's really it's sad that they don't. You can just see a lot of our children going to school just broken, having no, hope for the future, not, knowing tomorrow's going to be a better day. Because of all the negative imagery they're exposed to, because of all the tales of violence in the music, in television, in movies, even in cartoons these days. The destitute, just not providing a way, not, putting out no imagery, of steadfastness, of triumphing in the face of adversity. Yes, it's going to be rough and choppy, but smile, we'll get through this. We don't see no, sunshine and roses when it comes to our images and our likenesses. But more about the brand. All of their merches have positive visual images of our images and our likenesses. They're guaranteed to increase a child's self-esteem. That was their goal, their mission statement. And so this year that they have partnered with Family First. And Family First is a nonprofit organization that's been serving Atlanta for 130 years. They had a back-to-school mixer. They had where they was giving away the backpacks. They was also giving away groceries and other school supplies, as well as free haircuts and, free, hairstyles for the young ladies. But yeah, so that's what they do. It's an annual thing that they donate, their backpacks since they've been in business. If you want to find out more about their products, what their product looks like, you can go to duchessanddukes.com. Or if you have any questions, you can forward all your questions to info@duchessanddukes. Duchess and Dukes. I don't know why they named it Duchess and Dukes. That's like Europeans. They got the kings and the queen and the lords and the duchess and the dukes. But anyway, yeah, the name of their brand is Duchess and Dukes. So if you have any specific questions that you have about the brand, go to info@duchessanddukes.com or call them directly at 1-800-646-7128, and that's Duchess and Dukes. Let's give a Warm Narrative podcast round of applause for Sister Kelly and Brother Donovan Charles and their brand, Duchess and Dukes. Oh yeah, and then I also forgot, not only do they sell backpacks, they also sell luggage and travel accessories. Next up, next positive article for the weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. The headline reads, 30-year-old owner of $1 million black family-owned business launches educational platform complete with a free master class, and the brother's name is Malcolm X. Yeah, you didn't hear it. You heard it right. Malcolm X Bowser. And the name of this school is called the School of Excellence. And it's excellence with the X, not an E. So it's letter X and then Cellence, CELLENCE. Brother Malcolm is an author. He's a motivational speaker. He does TED Talks. Travels around the country. He does, for like Fortune 500 companies, does those type of speeches too, and he's written a book. He's the author of a book called Excellence, Unveiling Extraordinary Stories by Everyday People. So, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Hill Harper, but it's kind of like a corporate version of letters from a young brother, or letters to a young brother, whatever that Hill Harper book is. It's like a corporate version of that. So this is stories of, brothers and sisters that changed their trajectory in life and started their own business. So it's a story. That's what his book is about, basically. So his online school focuses on 3 pillars of success: mindset, personal development, and online business skills. So digital skills. You need digital skills if you're going to live in this modern world. If you can't work a computer, you can't do nothing. You need the basic digital skills to survive in this world. Now, back in the day, analog, we didn't have the internet, and people were selling stuff and writing books and everything without computers. But, in this modern world, you need those digital skills, and he's going to give them to you in his free master class. So to find out more about it and book your free session, go to schoolofexcellence.com/masterclass. Register for the masterclass, and all questions will be revealed. Guaranteed to have packages that will, speak to you directly. Personal, individualized, tailored sessions just for you. Whatever goal you're trying to achieve in life, he's going to, point you in the right directions, give you the resources. Of course, you can lead to a horse to water. You can't make him drink. So the entire success of whatever you're trying to get out of his class is up to you. Of course, you got to, show up, do whatever the curriculum says do, and then at some point, I'm guessing, pay for the source material. But check it out. What do you got to lose? I know you done blew a bag on something very frivolous in life, so no, why not invest in you? Check it out. School of Excellence. Join me in giving this brother Malcolm X Bowser a warm narrative podcast round of applause for the School of Excellence. Moving right along here on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. This is the last article, positive news article I have for this evening here on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. So for my last positive news article, the headline reads, "The only black owner of a pharmacy in Missouri that delivers meds for free." And this is made possible by a brother by the name of Marcus Howard. And the name of his practice is called Greater Health Pharmacy and Wellness. It's the first ever black-owned pharmacy in Missouri that delivers medications for free, and they also offer telehealth services. So like you can get free health care over the phone. They'll hook you up with a specialist. You can describe your symptoms and everything. If you're ailing, they'll prescribe meds to you and, get you the help that you need without ever having to really leave the comfort of your home, because, that's a whole trip and a half. I know why most people hate going to the MD. That triage, that's like a whole deal. You sit there for an hour and a half to just talk to 2 or 3 nurses before you see the actual doctor for whatever you came in there for in the first place. So, this service basically, cut your wait time in half. You go see whoever you need to see immediately. Now, me personally, I don't believe in modern medicine. I would never, firm believer in holistic health, proper diet, nutrition, and all that. Would never go to, a doctor for stuff that you can solve for like proper health and exercise. But there's those rare instances where things happen in your body. You might happen, that's out of your control, such as like a broken or fractured limb, first, second, third, or fourth degree burn, or if you're like in an accident in either you're inside of a motor vehicle on public transportation, recreational accident, riding your bike, canoeing, if you like on a boat, something happens and you hurt yourself, you're going to need to go to a doctor at some point, but for everything else, I'm a firm believer, no go, like, no. But yeah, you should checkups when your health depletes to the point where you're going to need medication, you're going to need a doctor at some point. But definitely this service in our community is definitely needed, as many of us do not have health care. So when you don't have health care, it's extremely hard to see a physician if you're like if you're on the county, whatever the free county help is. So this service is excellent for that. And if you want to know the full scope of, the services that his practice offers, go to greaterhealthpharmacy.com. They'll set you up with, whatever you're looking for at fair, affordable prices. And then they also offer a wealth of, of education. They tell you about, health-related issues, early signs, early warning signs of whatever the case may be, tutorials on how to, proper diet and sleep and, even oral health, like brushing your teeth and stuff. All that's on their website. Go check it out, greaterhealthpharmacy.com, and join me in giving our brother that made that all possible a warm narrative round of applause to Brother Marcus Howard. And that concludes the positive news articles for this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. So now, now's the part where I break down, commentary, when I'm going to be commentating on various topics. This section I refer to as my speaking point section, and basically it's just commentary on, I'm commentating on things that happen globally, nationally, or just things in our community. And the purpose of me doing that is that's me controlling the narrative, because the media go out of its way to have us all looking and sounding all type of crazy. So, this is me just pulling it back into focus and breaking down whatever's going on around the world or within our community, from our perspective, what that means to us, how that relates to us, and, breaking it down from our perspective. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that happened in Chicago, Illinois. It was a local story. Happened a few days ago. Y'all, as we're getting closer to these elections, like I said, it's not a conspiracy theory the horn has sounded. You know, these white, I call them delusionists, because ain't nothing supreme about them. They're delusional. You know, thinking they're superior to people. They're coming out in droves, and it's going to get really bad for us in the next coming months. So we're going to be seeing more Karens and more Kens and more of these white delusionists that think they can run over us. Now, with this particular story, it involves a sister by the name of Glenda Harris. Glenda owns a business called Epic Signature Suites. It's her own hair salon, and it's located in the strip mall in the River Forest area of Chicago. And basically what happened was this other dude by the name of Robert Palermo, I don't know what nationality that is. I'm going to have to look that up. Palermo, I believe that's an Italian last name, and it makes sense because it happened in Chicago. And if you didn't know, that's like the birthplace of organized crime. There's a very large Italian community in the city of Chicago in Illinois. Well, Robert Palermo, he owns a business in the same strip mall as our sister was located in. He owns a dog grooming business. It's called Diamond in the Rough. And so he got off on the bad foot with the sister when she opens up her business, her hair salon. They was having friction on the first day. So he or the sister, they don't have assigned parking, and I'm guessing since he was there first, he parks in a specific spot, and he started calling the sister names, start calling her out of her name, and calling her B's, but particularly the N-word, hard R. It comes to a head a few days ago. He goes up to her business with a hammer and, knocks out the camera on her, the Ring camera on her business, on the door of her business. So what he didn't know is that they had another camera located inside the salon, and that captured him doing it. So he was captured with two instances. They caught him, doing it in the act from the Ring camera, the last little bit of footage from the Ring camera before it went out because he destroyed it, and then the other footage of caught him in the act from inside the salon. Then he has another interaction with the sister. Her daughter was coming up to the salon to get her hair done, and she got it on cell phone, on camera phone, him yelling obscenities, invading her personal space, trying to physically assault her again over this spot. It's not his, it's not assigned parking, but I guess she parked in the spot. He comes out of his place of business and calls her out of her name, calls her the N-word, hard R. She got it on camera. And this idiot, his wife's recording too. And from the video, the cell phone footage on his wife's camera, he's calling her the N-word and walking towards the sister in an aggressive manner and threatening physical violence, threatening to put on his wife's cell phone camera. This is how bright this idiot is. So twice. They got him twice. They got him 3 times. You know, but the city of that district is talking about some misdemeanor charges. It could be a felony charge if they got the proof. If you save your receipts and they did more than $5,000 of damage. You got to do $5,000 worth of damage for it to be a felony charge. Now, come on, y'all. We know that ain't right. We do anything. They bringing the jail to us. We ain't even got to go to jail. We do anything. They bringing the jail to us. Had the situation been reversed, they bringing the jail to us, y'all. They bringing the jail to us. We ain't got to do nothing. So, we know what that is. This is a prime textbook example of just what I'm talking about. The systemic programming and conditioning, how they use the media to make us look degenerate in nature. So they responded in kind. He's, of Italian descent. And the frames of reference he has about our people are all negative ones. Movies, television, music, literature. He approached her violently, in a violent manner, approached her like an animal, tried to treat her like an animal. If it was a parking spot, excuse me, ma'am, I usually park here. I know you're new here, but this is kind of, I've been here 30 years. Do you think, can you park somewhere else? Explain to her, I have a dog company. A lot of my clientele that come through with their canines, and the way you guys are parked, that's why I park right there so they can, bring their dogs and get there safely. But no, none of that. He approached her with malice. He approached her with aggression. He approached her with a chip on his shoulder. He wanted to try to prove a point. He's F you black B, you N-word, hard R. And not for nothing, our communities, we're not united. It ain't no secret, like a whole bunch of Italians. I don't like make generalizations about people, but I do tell the truth. We don't have a good relationship. We don't have a long-standing relationship of our respective communities peacefully coinciding with each other. I mean, it's actually depicted in movies. Like, what is that movie with Robert De Niro? Yeah, I believe it was called A Bronx Tale. Like, we seen it, The main character, he became smitten with his sister, and it was all rainbows and sunshine. But then that filthy beast came up out of him. Called her brother, called her dirty, or called him a stupid N-word, hard R in that movie. When his guys jumped him. Like, that's the relationship in real life that our respective communities have. But going back to the origin, everything and everybody descends from us. And we was in Italy originally too. So, those darker complected Italians, they don't never want to admit it. The Sicilians and northern dark Italians, y'all black too. Y'all don't want to admit it. Y'all original people too. A whole lot of them don't. this newer version, this newer generation, they kind of embrace it because they got the knowledge and they're doing the research. But you know, these first and second generation ones, they're not too receptive to our people. They don't really like us. And not saying all of them, but you know, generally, like, yeah. If I had my choice, if I had to go to a redneck bar or an Italian bar, if I had to, if this was a life and death type of choice, I think I would turn out better in a redneck bar than I would in an Italian bar. I'm just saying, that's just how much, you know, culturally that they don't like us. They got a deeper disdain towards us than, you know, hate to say it, than like redneck white people. And the deeper disdain is self-loathing, because they know their history and they know, you know, deep down in their Roman history, you know, we was the original Romans, so they can come from us too. You know, they don't want to embrace it. Like a whole lot of people that, reject our culture. Like, you know, pretty much everybody came from us. For some odd reason in Italian culture, they don't want to acknowledge us. But, you know, I kind of got a little long-winded on that story, but you know, it was cowardness at its best. He only pressed them because they were sisters. Now, had it been a brother that owned a barber shop, he wouldn't have wanted no smoke. He wouldn't have came out. He wouldn't have turned up like that. He turned up like that because they were sisters, because they was women, and he was confident he could beat them, push come to shove. He can beat them physically. He wouldn't have tried that with no brothers. I don't believe he would have tried that with no brothers. So he tried it with some sisters because he's a punk. He's a mother flipping punk. But yeah, like I said, as this election draws nearer, we're going to hear more and more stories like that. They're going to get the confidence to feel they can disrespect. They're going to get super comfortable. Like it's happening every single day. It's a new story like that every single day, somewhere in the nation. Like, you know, they getting too comfortable. But, you know, that's just my first story. I want to, you know, break that story because it hasn't been trending a lot on any platforms. And, you know, we have to keep stuff like that, the little stuff, in the eye of the public, or to get swept up under the rug. So, yeah, we got to make a big deal, a big stink out of that when stuff like that happens, because it can happen in your neck of the woods at any given time. So, moral of the story is, you know, you got to carry that, you know, phone on you. Make sure your phone is fully charged when you leave the house, and make sure that you got a phone with a good camera on it. That it's not difficult to, you know, hit that record button, because you never know, you know, when you're going to need to pull it out to start recording. Because, like, if they call the police first, they get to that phone and call the police, we already know, you know, they're going to take their side immediately if you don't got it on camera, if you're not recording from the time it happens. It's sad, but it's real. But that's all I really had to talk about. But next order of business, address the elephant in the room. These 2024 elections. I want to address this. First thing about it I want to address are very confused, very mentally ill. And I call her mentally ill because self-loathing is a form of mental illness. When you hate yourself, you can't say anything positive about anybody that resembles you or has similar characteristic as you. You can't say anything positive about them. That's a mental illness. And this sister has a mental illness. She hates herself very, very much. She loathes herself. She loathes people that resemble herself. She loathes people that remind herself of herself. And the sister in question is none other than Candace Owens. Now, I've been following her career. You know, she's a highly intelligent sister, very articulate. She's one of them 50-50 people. When she's right, and when she's wrong, she's super wrong. So there's some things she says that I agree with. I agree with her stance on abortion. I agree with her stance on, certain communities, people identifying as certain. I agree with her on that stance. I'm not going to call a man ma'am just because he's wearing a dress. I'm not going to call a woman sir because she got facial hair and she wearing jeans. Not doing it. So I agree with her on that perspective. But a lot of things she says coming out of our community about our people is just dead wrong. And so her latest things that she said about, our sister Sonia Macy is it's wrong. Wronger than wrong. To even have the opposing view about when it's clear as like the nose on your face. He came in with aggression. He came in disrespectful. She called the man sir, respected his title. She called the police. She called for her safety. She feared a prowler. All she was doing was boiling some water and got unalived. She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and he did what he did. So in her self-loathing, self-hating mind, she sided with the police officer. She tried to give the opposing view, trying to look at it from the police officer's perspective, trying to give the police officer an out, saying the job is stressful, they don't know what they're going to come in contact with, especially in that neighborhood. And I can see how, he was threatened by her actions. I mean, there was he don't got a perspective. He don't got a opposing view. So yeah, I'm not even going to go dig into her to say, why she was wrong. I'm going to say simply to not give her no energy. Don't utilize your platform feeding her, because that's what you're doing. You're feeding her. Like I said, she's a very smart, intelligent sister. And we know the machine we're up against, and the machine that we're up against produces people in our community like her. So not only females, there's a whole lot of men in our community. I'm not going to say their names. You know, it's the same ones. They're in sports entertainment. Every time something in our community happens, they don't never have anything positive to say. They always have something negative to say, always, without fail. These men in our community. So she's not the only one. It's a big game, y'all. It's a finesse. They pay these people to have the opposing view. They pay them. And unfortunately, hate to bust your bubble, a lot of us just don't stand on principle. A lot of us worship the almighty dollar. A lot of us have been, resisting our true nature. Our true nature is virtuous. Our true nature is righteous. A whole lot of us have been corrupted. We've taken on the characteristics of the oppressor, which is to conquer, which is to lie, which is to deceive, which is to steal, which is to kill, which is to destroy. A lot of us are embodying the oppressor. So what's going on with our sister Candace Owen is that, plus self-loathing, Stockholm Syndrome at its finest. Stockholm Syndrome. She's married to a white man. I'm not, bashing people in interracial relationships. I'm a firm believer in love. You love who you love. You can't help who you love. If the person's treating you right, respecting you, giving you what you need, who's anybody to judge? I don't judge nobody in the interracial relationship. My family tree, just speaking on my family tree, I would say a good 60% of my cousins are products of interracial relationships, meaning I got mulatto cousins. Like 60% of my cousins are mulatto. They're either, most of them are their mom. Like, my male first cousins, they had an affinity for Caucasian women. I got a few sisters, cousins, dated and had children by white men. So as a result of that, I got a whole lot of mulatto cousins. So it's not a slight. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't look down my nose at people in interracial relationships. But the majority of them that are in interracial relationships gravitate towards people outside of their culture because, it's self-loathing. They hate themselves. They don't want to be with somebody that reminds them of themselves when they look in the mirror. So that self-loathing is a form of mental illness. When you hate yourself so much, you want to be like the furthest away from yourself as possible. You don't want to be with somebody that resembles you or reminds you of you, because you hate yourself that bad. And so that's what our sister does. Says that some of the things that she says is because she hates herself. She hates, being an original woman. But also because she loves money. She lusts after it. And a lot of people in our community, they lust after money, just in different ways. So she says, hey, I'm for sale. Yeah, I say it. If you give me enough money, yep. I say it. I have the opposing view, saying something I know is wrong. When it comes out of my mouth, I know it's wrong. You know, that's disrespecting all the people that look like me in my family. I don't care as long as you pay me enough money. And unfortunately, there's just people in our community willing to compromise their integrities, morals, beliefs, values for that money. She's one of them. So I say that to say to everybody, all my people, don't waste your time. Don't waste your precious time and resources airing out people that's not worth airing out. We know industry plants when we see one. She's an industry plant. She's there for the ruckus. She's there for the drama. She's there to have the opposing view. There's other content creators that have platforms that say like super duper dodo brain stuff about our people and our culture. They intentionally do it. They do it to garner the likes. They do it to upset the algorithm, to line their pockets with the money. So it's a big finesse. Don't get distracted by that big finesse. Like, let her keep on finessing, stay in her lane. Like, she's one of them people that'll lose their power when you stop paying attention to her. Like, you stop paying attention to her, unfazed, unworthy, like unfazed, unbothered by her, she'll quit saying this stupid dodo brain stuff. Just for an example, our sisters, like, they was backing Trump in his first run. Yeah, I called them my sisters. They was playing up that stereotypical mammy, Diamond and Silk, I believe that their nicknames was, but one of them ended up passing away, and the internet was rejoicing, which was like sick and demented. You don't sit up here and rejoice somebody's death because they don't support your political views. We don't do that in our community. So see what I mean by that systemic programming and conditioning that it has over our people? Like, we warn against our nature, because even though she was supporting Trump, there was people online sitting up there turning, like, celebrating because she passed away. Like, we don't do that. We kings and queens. We better than that. Now, so bottom line is, like, when you see the industry planting seeds, planting industry seeds, like, don't even fall for it. Don't take that banana in the tailpipe. Don't even waste your energy being mad about it, because we know what they're there for. We know what they're there for. We're all intelligent. We all got common sense. We know what they're there for. They're there to say that clown stuff that they be saying, that clown stuff that they be doing, that's what they're there for. So let them play themselves out of their own position. They all end up having a downfall. Like, look at Stacey Dash. Couldn't wait to come back when she got her little dose of reality. Trying to come back harder than the mud. She wants to come back so bad. So Candace, she's going to get her wake-up call too. And all these brothers, I ain't going to say their names because I ain't going to give them no press. I'm ignoring them. They figments of my imagination. I ain't going to give them no energy, but we know who they are. They're going to get their comeuppance for the stuff they say. that karma's going to come back around, you know. So they're going to get it. You don't have to waste your platform airing them out and roasting them like they're going to play themselves out. We got to keep our nose to the grindstone because we got some work ahead. We got some work ahead of us. Which brings me to my next point about this election. Y'all, we taking this so super personal. Like, this is politics. All politicians lie. If you bother, like, we're in the digital information age. All you gotta do is just Google, like, anything you don't know about politics. You literally can just type it in your Google browser and educate yourself. Type it in the Google browser, and then you can pull up videos on YouTube. Educate yourself. You can become an informed expert in a matter of mere minutes, as opposed to back in the day when you didn't know something. You had to get the dictionary, you had to get the encyclopedia, and go to the library, read. Now you can, like, become an informed expert in mere moments. And people sitting up here on these smartphones doing and saying, pardon my language, stupid shit. I try to not curse on my platform because I feel that it takes away from the message I'm trying to convey. But, you know, sometimes you just gotta say it. Like, people on their smartphones doing stupid shit. And sitting up there worrying about a politician, what they're going to do in the next 4 years is stupid. To believe any of them is going to keep any campaign promises, do anything for you, for your community, no matter, you know, what background you are. You know, black, white, Asian, whatever. You think an elected official is really going to keep their campaign promises? They in there for 4 years. And then in that 4 years, you know, for the first, they don't even really start doing anything, signing papers and doing stuff until like the 5th or 6th month of that first year in office. So they don't even actually start doing work until like 6 months in. So like their 4th or 5th month in the office, they don't actually start doing work. So that's not how that go. Which goes back to systemic, you know, conditioning and programming. It's not just on our people, it's on everybody else too. It's like religion. Believing in Sky Daddy. That you just pray and things are just naturally going to happen. Like you don't got to do nothing on your end. You pray and you put some money in the little offering plate, but then you don't have to do nothing on your end. You sitting up in church 400 pounds obese. You praying to your Lord and Savior to make you slim. But you don't want to take your big back behind to the gym and work out. After service, you go into the all-you-can-eat buffet and then wonder why you got to have a triple bypass surgery. Why you got high blood pressure? Because you don't want to do nothing on your end. You don't want to take responsibility and accountability for your actions. You want to think something outside of yourself is going to take care of yourself. The Bible that you read says, faith without work is dead. Meaning you got to do something. And why I'm picking on religious people, because our great nation, the United States of America, is founded on biblical principles. Everything in this, like our system of government, is founded on like what's in the Bible. Maritime law, Bible. Black's law, Bible. Everything is founded on Christianity in America. So if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you better read that mug front, back, and side to side so you can maneuver in this society. If nothing, do it for that. If you don't believe it, you better get a stern understanding of it so you can maneuver, because our system of government is based on the Bible. And there's a whole lot of people, religious people, that got a false perception of the Bible, which translates into government. We sitting up there thinking we cast our ballot and then it's over. We don't have to do nothing on our end to see changes in our community that we want to see. We thinking this elected official is just going to do everything, when in reality they can't do too much. If you paid attention in government class, you know what the president of the United States can do and what they can't do. So breaking it down even further, Fortune 500 companies run this country. America is a company, is and always has been. And so for the maximum efficiency to get what you want out of your elected officials, you better get out of your feelings and develop a corporate mindset and start conducting business. Start conducting business and taking care of business, and stop getting so emotional about this election, because they're both the devil. Both of them are devils. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Devil, devil, devil. Not saying all Caucasian people are the devil, but the ones in power that just happen to be Caucasians, they are the devil incarnate. They don't care nothing about you. They don't care about your vote. They don't care about your community. They don't care about your concerns. They don't care about your issues. You better start conducting, your voting preference like your business, like, your like how you handle business at the bank. If you're in corporate America, how you sealing the deal with another company, getting the account. That's how you better handle your voting status, and quit operating out of emotion, and quit letting these politicians tug your heartstrings, especially in my community. So that's why I'm going so hard on religion right now, because I'm so sick and tired of these politicians manipulating our love for religion, especially Christianity in our community. Once upon a time in our community, original people community, the black church was the hub, was the cornerstone of our community. It meant something. It was a place of refinement. It was a place where you can feel dignified. And now it's just like a laughingstock, a joke. Like the black church has no power anymore. Like the black church was a cornerstone of our community. It was the internet before the internet. Like you needed something, you went to church. You needed a job, you go holler at somebody at the church. You go to church, somebody owns their own business, they need somebody to work. Like that was, the lady in the church. She announced it, what's available in the community, in the church announcement. She, the little lady with the funny hat, they selling dinners over here. And, if you need a job, Ray got his own, he got his own car shop. They need a this position or that position. You don't have to have no training. He'll train you. Putting people to work in our community. They selling dinners over here, raising church money for the church. Not begging. Giving stuff away. People doing philanthropy, doing in the community. You hungry? They giving this, that, and the third away over here, and talk to brother this, talk to sister that. They got the details. We took care of each other. That was our safe space. Black church. Now, it's turned into the devil's den for real. Like that the black church is the politicians' first stop. They get on TV and they sit up here and get this shucking and jiving pastor, Reverend do wrong, dirty shirt up in there. They smile next to him and take the pictures. And not one of these suckers got the balls to ask about reparations. They sitting up in them folks' face, and they ain't making them address nothing that their people needs. They ain't talking about what they're going to do for the community, education, job training, nothing, health care, nothing. They sit up there and shake their hand and hug them, throw a choir robe on them, and let them sing in the choir pit, in the pulpit. And then the other photo op, they sitting down, holding hands in a prayer circle, or they kneeling at the bench praying. And what they praying for is that you believe that cockamamie bull crap lie that they're selling you. That's what they praying for. They praying for your downfall. They praying for your enslavement. Black church, y'all need to get it together and quit letting these politicians make a fool of us through you. If you say you love God, act like it. And quit fearing these devils. Rebuke and cast the devil out, right? If you a Christian. That's what y'all say y'all believe in. You're going to sit up there and let the devil into the house. You take authority in the spirit. Make them tell the truth. If you really believe what you read in that book you read. You're going to sit up there and let them lie to you and smile in your face and mock you. Sad, bro. That's sad. The black church is officially a joke now. The politicians have made the black church a joke. Laughing stock. So, which brings me to my next point. Kamala Harris. Yeah, she's a politician. She's lying. That's what she gets paid to do. That's what she's here for. She's here to lie. She's here to deceive you. Voting is a finesse. Learn the voting process. Learn about it. Educate yourself on it. She already knows she can't win. Before you get the candidates elect, they have to be selected. There's a whole process before the ballot even happens. These Fortune 500 companies, these faceless entities, they select the people on the ballot to run. And the policies they enforce is the ones they want them to. Republican, Democrat, Independent, grassroots, it don't matter. Well, why is she running when she knows she can't win? Because she gets to keep the money. That $2 million, that's why she's always sitting up there smiling and dancing. Because she's going to keep all that money, y'all. That's why. She knows she ain't going to win. They told her she ain't going to win. She gets to keep it. Any money that they don't get to use, any money left over when they have a presidential elections, the candidates get to keep it. That's why some candidates run back to back every year. They get to keep all that money. We don't need to be arguing amongst ourselves about who you're going to vote for. If you want to vote, if voting makes you feel good, go ahead, vote out, vote until your little heart's content. Vote away, no judgment. Vote for whoever you want to, for whoever you think's going to make it feel good and make you feel better. Vote your heart out. But do not turn on your brother or your sister because they don't vote the way you vote. That's what we got to stop, y'all. We got to stop it sitting up here politically gangbanging. That's what we doing. We politically gangbanging. Because somebody, a Republican, they voting for old boy, or somebody a Democrat, they voting for old girl. Who cares? Why are we sitting up there letting this election live rent-free in our heads? What's ever going to happen is going to happen. It don't matter who's in that seat. It's predetermined. You know, the Senate and Congress, they don't even, Capitol Hill, they don't even run it no more. It's this faceless corporation, the higher echelon, the elite class society. They run this country. They run it. Now, if you paid attention to, government classes, we're supposed to be running. It says, we the people. It says, we the people in the preambles of the Constitution. So the Constitution is supposed to be the big piece of paper that the entire ideals and belief system and values of this country is centered upon. It says, we the people. It don't say we the president. It don't say we the governors. It says we the people. We have the power. We've always had the power. But we're too busy being divided to, band together and overthrow this wicked regime. Because ain't no way you can sit up here justifying taxes. Why are we paying taxes and we're broke? Make it make sense. How are we paying taxes but we don't got money? We're broke. Our nation's broke. But we steady paying taxes. We let them take our money every single year. And we don't question it. We don't revolt against it. We just let them take it. Oh, we're going to send you to jail if you don't pay it. They can't send all of us to jail if we don't pay it. Oh, well, you'll lose your job. Hell with that damn job. We the people. What part of we the people don't we understand? We run it. Without no us, there is no them. Well, we sitting up here, Republican, Democrat, red, blue, left, right. And they don't give a damn about us, especially our people. There ain't nothing in this legislation for us at all, for either party, but you're sitting up there wasting your time voting. I'm not telling you not to vote. If you want to vote, vote. But what we shouldn't be doing is attacking each other over this nonsense. And that's what it is, nonsense. The voting process is nonsense. We shouldn't be judging each other. We shouldn't be attacking each other. We got literally bigger fish to fry. What we should be doing is preparing. We got 100 days. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. We got to stop putting stuff off, thinking we can do it tomorrow, because tomorrow might not come. Because if we thought 2020 was bad, 2021 was bad, like after this election, it's going to be the most horrible that it's ever been for our people. Through any other administration, this is going to be the worst administration for our people ever, no matter which one of them guys wins. It's like I said, the people behind this scenes controlling this whole election, they got some wicked, diabolical things planned for us. Believe that. Believe that. They don't mean us any good. We got to stop fighting each other and just start working on ourselves and start preparing. Start getting our minds, bodies, and spirits right for what's about to happen. And what's about to happen is not good. It's not going to be good at all. We got to stop letting this election live rent-free in our heads. We got to focus. We have to make the changes in our community and stop believing this fairy tale that this person that's going to sit in this seat in this building that we built, by the way, our people built, is going to make decisions that will help us. We got to help ourselves is what I'm saying. We have to be the change. We can't expect them to, change. When we watch administration after administration after administration after administration after administration fail us, fail us, fail us, fail us, and fail us. Abandon us, abandon us, abandon us, abandon us, abandon us. Use us, use us, use us, use us, use us. And we still believe in them. And we still trust them. We got us like, man, bruh, it's wartime. It's time for our people to put that war paint on and, strap up. I'm not advocating violence. When I say strap up, I mean like shoulder pads and that. But, it's not going to be nice. We're going to see an influx of violence in our community. They're going to infiltrate our communities like they do. They're going to start unaliving a whole lot of us and try to make us look like we're doing it to each other when it's really them. We're going to get attacked left and right. So these small, like Sandra Macy, like that's just the tip of the iceberg. The call already went out. The call has gone out. We're going to see violence continue to skyrocket and soar. We're going to see it in drastic numbers before the election. We only got 100 days. And in this 100 days, watch how many of our people get unalived by political supporters of either party, both of them. It's going to be both of them. They're going to try to put it on the other party. They're going to try to say it's Trump supporters doing it, when it's really they're all in the same game. It benefits, both of them. The Democrats and the Reptilicans. That's who we got to choose from. There ain't no lesser of the two evils. They're both equally evil. They're both equally wicked, equally diabolical. There ain't no best case scenario. We're screwed either way. We got to get it together, man. We got to get it together. I love us. 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 But we got to get it together. We got to get a plan. We ain't got no time to be sitting up here being mad at each other for voting for the orange guy or voting for the Wicked Witch of the West or Canada, wherever that lady's from. So like I said, this election is one big finesse. Like, don't lose sleep worrying about this stuff. If you really want change in your community, you have to be the change. You're stronger than you think. You're smarter than you give yourself credit for. You got information at the tip of your fingers. Use it. It's get off your ass and do something time. We can't sit up there waiting for these MFers to throw us some crumbs, because they not. They done showed us, and they done proved it that they're not going to do it. It's not in their best interest. Like, study the 48 laws of power. We're the most impactful, influential people in the world. Everybody's trying to be like us. Why in God's name do you think a politician would ever pass some legislation that would potentially usurp their power? Do you think, like, in a job interview, when you don't get the job, you don't went to school, you don't went to an Ivy League college, got good grades, you know how good you look on paper, you think that person is sitting across the table you're interviewing for is going to hire you, somebody that can potentially replace them? You think they're going to hire a potential replacement? Nobody hires a potential replacement. And they know we definitely can replace them. That's why they'll never give us nothing to empower ourselves. We're their replacement. You get it? We do everything better than them. And they know it. And they scared of it. And they're intimidated by it. Well, scared and intimidated, I guess that's the same, but you know what I'm trying to say. So come on, y'all. We got to stop tripping off of this election. But the one big silver lining we got is that we are strong. We are resilient. Like, look at slavery. Look how far we done came since slavery. They enslaved us. They couldn't break us. We got better after slavery. Civil rights. They couldn't break us. We got better after civil rights. Jim Crow. They couldn't break us. We got better after Jim Crow. I know I might not be going in the chronological order, but what I'm basically saying, everything that done threw at us, we overcame and got better. We're still getting better. We're still improving. Like, look at our youth. Do you know how many millionaires we have under the age of 21 in our community? It's literally a one every single day being born. Seeing it on the internet that made $1 million before age 21. We got innovative people like that in our community. And now we got the mindset of, you know, the steppers. I hate to say it, in the violence, like, we don't care about nothing no more. We'll do that to each other. We'll do the blank blank to each other. You don't think they think we'll blank blank them? They know it. And so when we get to that mindset, then things will change. Because we fearful of going to jail over one of them, but we ain't fearful of going to jail for one of ours. Do you see how sick that mentality is? Do you see the number that they did on us? We afraid to blank blank them, but we ain't afraid to blank blank each other. I'm not advocating blank blanking anybody. We don't need to be blank blanking at all. We need to be coming together, loving each other, kumbaya and all that. But the war mentality, they've waged war on us. How, again, if this voting process stuff, how do we got two equally toxic people, two equally toxic candidates to select from? They both have equally wicked agendas as far as our people are concerned. They don't got nothing in their legislation for us. Either side. Either side. First term, when it was the orange guy against the other guy, he was like, vote for me. What do you got to lose? You don't have anything. What do you got to lose? Orange guy. He said that. And then Biden was like, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. So see the two ways they sitting up there insulting our intelligence. One white man say you don't vote for me. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Other white man said, hey, you ain't got nothing else. Might as well vote for me. You ain't got nothing to lose because you ain't got nothing anyway. See how they taunt and mock us? And now we got a sister that's not a sister, who got a daddy that identifies as white, an African daddy that identifies as white, Middle Eastern mom that identifies as white. She from Canada. But she's sitting up there, everything that comes out of her mouth is a black trope. I'm going to fix me some greens. I fixed so many greens. One year I washed them in this tub. Bruh, that's how we know you ain't black anyway. Because, you know, within our culture, one thing we don't play is our food. Your ass and your private parts don't go around food. We don't play that. We ain't going to stick our food somewhere we wash our ass in. So whoever's writing your material, tell them to get their stuff together, get it right. You're sitting up there just making yourself look dumb. I'm gonna wash my greens in the tub. To get hell on, I'm out here in these streets. What streets you out here in? Just repeating stuff. Watch. And the next thing she finna do, she finna have a bonnet on. Before the end of the election, my words, that lady gonna have a bonnet. And y'all sitting up there celebrating that foolishness. Yeah, we're gonna have the next Madam Black President. Yeah. Damn fool. But like I said, don't take this, don't get in your feelings about this emotion or this election. Don't let your emotions override you, override your common sense, override your intelligence, override your emotions. Like our sister said, Taraji said, it's chestnut checkers. Like, ain't neither one of them got nothing in it for us. And it ain't never been nothing but us that's going to do for us but us. And that's the way it always been. So we can get in all these little respective spaces and talking this political mumbo jumbo and jargon. We know at the end of the day, they don't care. They ain't got nothing for us. They ain't going to produce nothing for us. Period. Now, are we wrong to expect reparations, to expect what they owe us? No. But to get what they owe us, we got to conduct business. We got to be business minded, and we got to be persistent, and we got to be strategic in getting it. We might have to do a hostile takeover. So are you got the balls to do a hostile takeover? That's what we got to find. We got to find people that got the balls to do a hostile takeover. I think the smartest thing I've heard about this whole election came from Mike Tyson. Vote for who you want to vote for. He told you who he's voting for, like what you going to do to him. You're going to beat him up, shoot him, so what? Because it don't matter. It don't matter if you vote for Trump. It don't matter if you vote for Kamala. It don't matter if you actually even vote. The only thing we got going for us right now is our conviction and what we need to do. So we know what we need to do. Let's do it. Let's do it. We know we can do it. We don't need their validation. We don't need their acknowledgement. We just want what's owed to us. And we got to keep that by any means mentality to get it. And stop asking them and start demanding it. If we keep asking them, they're going to keep on brushing us off. There's too many of us in here. We're not in the minority. That's that systemic programming and conditioning. We haven't been the minority in this country for over 40 years. Stop letting them folks call us a minority. We not the minority. We start demanding stuff and then you can't deny us. So, that's just, how I see it. Final word, stop letting this election live rent-free in our heads. It's time to get up. It's time to put the war paint on. This is not a drill. This is real. Neither candidate is for us. There is no lesser of the two evils. They're both equally evil, both equally wicked, both equally diabolical. There is no one you know, there is no like positive spin on it. There ain't. We know what we need to do. It's time to get off our butts and start doing it. We all have unique talents, skills, and abilities. If you feel you don't have a unique talent, skill, or ability, you got the time to go create one. Get good at something and figure out how you can have the whole benefit from your gift. But we need to do it today. It ain't no tomorrow. Well, that's it and that's all. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Narrator Podcast. Join me this weekend for a full episode of the Narrator Podcast. Don't forget to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. The best way to stay current with the most recent episode of the Narrative Podcast is to follow me on YouTube or X. And the reason why you want to follow me on those two mediums is because this platform that I'm broadcasting on is, after I'm done broadcasting, it automatically uploads to YouTube and X. So, follow me on YouTube. I'm Halsey Allen. And you want to click the subscribe button, notification button, and the notification bell all. And, and then on X, also follow me on X. I'm not too proficient with that, the alerts and everything. But, if you follow me on X, you will see the most up-to-date, recent episode of the Narrative Podcast. And X is actually the best place to follow me for my broadcast, because when you click on the link on X, you will go right to, the podcast, and you will see all the options. You will see that little heart-shaped like button. Please click that. You will see the download button. Please click that. Click the little downward arrow. Please click that. You will see the comment box where you can leave me a comment on my podcast. Please leave me a comment. Greatly appreciate it. That helps the platform. And then also those little three bubbles on the side. You can click that and share it to your favorite platform. That helps the platform, so I can keep on coming back here, bringing positive frames of reference to change the narrative. So yeah, follow me on YouTube or X for the most recent episodes of the Narrative Podcast. The next thing I want to promote is my book. I write poetry. I'm a poet as well as so many other things that you will find out a little bit later on. I've written a book of poetry. It's titled The Black Card, and what it's about is basically it's an all-encompassing look at us as a people. It's 30 poems reflecting everything that we, go through as a people, positive and negative. All the nuances of our culture is reflected in that book. It's basically like I would say like a survival guide of being black. When you read it, you're guaranteed if you're an original man or original woman, you're definitely going to come across a poem that's going to resonate with you immediately. Really, the whole book will immediately. And currently, it's only available on poetizer.com. If you're not familiar with Poetizer, what that is, it's a community of novice writers, aka hobbyists, people that don't write at the professional level but want to. It's for all genres of writing, specifically poetry. It's in the name, Poetizer, but they also welcome people that like to write essays, people that like to write novels, and also, journal writing is encouraged. So just any type of writing you can think of is encouraged on that platform, poetizer.com. But what they have also is a virtual online bookstore. So everybody that participates and shares their work in that community, they have a function which will allow them to turn their work into a book. And they have a virtual online bookstore on poetizer.com. And that's where, you'll find everybody's books that create books on that platform, that turn their work into books on that platform. So go support my book on poetizer.com. It's titled The Black Card. Visit their online bookstore. Click on bookstore when you get there and look for my title, The Black Card, written by me, Halzie Allen. It's still at $23. Go ahead, go get that. And all proceeds will go to building a better narrative podcast experience. I'm trying to transition into, video footage. I'm trying to make a video version of this, so on YouTube and all that, and have guests and all that, and interview people doing positive things and provide you guys with more positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So go check that book out. It's called The Black Card on poetizer.com. It'll make a good coffee table read, travel book, or just, if you like poetry or if you're looking to get into poetry, you will love that book. And then it's even good for people outside of our culture. If you consider yourself open-minded or want to become educated about different cultures, it's definitely the book for you. Go get it today on poetizer.com. It's called The Black Card. Go get that today, right now. The Black Card on poetizer.com. Virtual bookstore. Go get it, or get your black card revoked. And then last but not least, I want to promote my personal poetry blog on blogger.com. It's called Hallzies Poetry Corner. And the tagline for that is Hallzies Poetry Corner. Poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you read one of my poems posted on Hallzies Poetry Corner, you will see it lives up to that tagline. So to visit, it's on blogger.com. To visit it, it's at www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And what that blog is, it's just basically a collection of just poems that I write in my spare time. Poems ranging from a wide selection of topics. What's unique about the poems on my poetry blog is that they're so detailed and specific and intentional. You would be under the impression that, I drafted them before I posted them. But that's quite the contrary. All the poems featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner, I wrote them spontaneously. I just wrote them off the cuff. In the moment, I didn't contemplate about anything that I was going to write about. I didn't contemplate about what I was going to title each piece. Literally, all the content just flowed to me. I wasn't thinking about anything. Nothing in the outside world influenced it. I do have several poems, specifically, capturing our experience, original people's experience. But for the most part, all the poems on Hallzies Poetry Corner is just like, anybody can enjoy it. White, black, Asian, whatever, ethnic background you are, you definitely can read a poem posted on that poetry blog and get immersed in it, find a little piece of yourself in it, relate to it, and the poems on there resonate with you. So go check that out on blogger.com, Hallzies Poetry Corner at www.mrhallziesblogs.com. And the way you can support that is, visiting the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner and sharing the link, www.mrhallziesblogs.com, across all, digital platforms, whatever your preferred platform is. Share the link to Hallzies Poetry Corner, www.mrhallziesblogs.com, or a poem featured on Hallzies Poetry Corner across all platforms. So whatever piece on there you like, share it to your favorite platform. And then, of course, hit that little heart-shaped like button when you get to the site. And then for the love of God, comment. There's a comment box in there. Leave me a comment. Talk to me. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Give me some feedback. Give me any type of feedback you got. Any type of smoke you got for me. For one of those poems, I'm with it. I ain't going to get mad. It's all about the art form. It's all about the creativity. It's all about the art form. But go check them out. Hallzies Poetry Corner on blogger.com, www.mrhallziesblogs.com. Poetry with a passion. Poetry for all occasions. Check it out today, not later. So that's it, and that's all. This episode of the Narrator Podcast is officially a wrap. Check me out this weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast, as well as all for the rest of this weekday. I'm gonna try to do Friday. I'm gonna try, y'all. Try be an operative word. My goal is to do at least 3 weekday episodes of the Narrator Podcast, because I want to make my presence more pronounced during the weekday, because that's, quite frankly, when most of the negative things happen, is during the weekday in our community. Not too much on the weekend. Not so much on the weekend. It's really like all the negative news articles is like during the weekday, and I want to be the your positive alternative. If you want to listen to something positive, you can have this to listen to during the weekday. But anyway, check me out this weekend for sure with a full episode of the Narrator Podcast, and then probably tomorrow and probably Friday for the weekday editions of the Narrator Podcast. But this episode is a wrap. It's out of here like last year. Join me, y'all, next time. We're going to change the narrative together. We got to change this narrative. I'm Halsey Allen, and I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to join me. Join my mission to change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one episode at a time, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen and the Narrator Podcast, signing off. And it's like that.
Thank
listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.